So, wow, we're back with the Red Glove interview series from Sweden. And I'm very, very excited this evening in Sweden. And I think it's daylight where you are, Antonio. And I mean, this guy that I'm having on tonight is very special for me. We met in 2012 in San Diego, sunny San Diego, you could say that. And that's something called the High Performance Forum, created and ran by Darren Hardy, former publisher of Success Magazine, and now obviously the founder of Be the Exception. And there were 3 days of hardcore business strategy leadership talks that left me empty. You could say that it was on such a high level. And at the end of this, we were assigned an accountability partner. And Antonio became my accountability partner. And if you don't know what that is someone that actually keeps you accountable for the stuff that you said you will do every week. And I had no idea that now, 6 years later, we will still be in touch and still holding each other accountable. So we've been doing this for quite a while now. Week after week, sometimes, maybe every third week or once a month, but we have been consistent, right, Antonio, for such a long time.
We have been, absolutely.
Which is quite rare, the consistency when everything goes so fast and, people don't have the patience. To do anything, because you're constantly bombarded by a lot of things, So I'm very happy to have you as my accountability partner. We've gone through a lot together, both ups and downs, and I feel every time we talk, we kind of like synchronize. So almost the same things are happening in different contexts, obviously, but I'm very, very thankful, and it has helped me a lot. And I'm looking forward for the upcoming 5 years together and see where that takes us.
Me too. I appreciate. It's something very unique to have somebody you trust and that has a similar mentality in terms of your goal, what you want to do in life. So it's been absolutely my honor and very grateful for that. So looking forward also for the next 5 years.
Awesome. And we said before the interview that we could not even imagine where the technology would be today when we met in 2012. And we thought, it was already up in there. So we have an exciting time in front of us, and make sure you capitalize on what's happening around you. This is just one of many ways to get your voice be heard and to get the message out there. So I'm going to be doing this once a week with special individuals that I find inspiring, that have a strong message from different fields of expertise. So Antonio, apart from being a doctor, we're going to get into it now. What I find very rare with him, that he has a passion for the personal development field, and he combines, I think, at least two worlds, the medicine and nutrition together with the personal development in a way that makes it easy for people to understand. And that is quite rare, because my father is a doctor, and I met a lot of doctors, and they have a lot of expertise, but they cannot make it easy for other people to understand, So I think that's a very cool combination.
Yeah, I appreciate. We're only humans, right? And in our journey, and my personal journey, I think the better person I can become, the better person I am able, the better I am to counsel and help other people, because we're only human, and health is only one part of our whole being. And yes, so the better human beings we become, the better we are qualified to be able to be leaders and to help others. So that's basically one of the things I value and that I try to live on my daily and personal life.
Awesome, man. So let's dive into it. As some people that have seen this before know, I like to start both my days, and in the morning, and all the interviews with gratitude, because I think that is a powerful force. It's a powerful mindset to have, and it forces you to, focus on the things that are already working that you can have more of, So what are, the 3 things, Antonio, that you're most grateful for right now in your life?
Okay, great question. I echo your words. I mean, gratitude, it's so important. It's easy to, such a noisy world that we live, it's not that hard to see all that negativity that's around. But I also think that gratitude, it's one of the best qualities that one might have. Great question there. First of all, I just say I'm gratitude for just existing. These times that we're living, we could, like Caravaggio says, you could be a tree, you could be an animal, but you're so fortunate that you're an actual human being at this point in time, and just being gratitude for being here and having the opportunity in these exciting times to be alive. So just that basic thing. Number two, I'd say family. I'm very big on family as a value for myself. So I just feel fortunate the way I was raised up, with my values of being a good person, to having had the education that they gave me. Not only regular education, but also higher education. So I'm very grateful for my family as well, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And number three, I'd say, just these times that I'm living in, I'm very grateful for them. Again, it's a noisy environment where we are, negative things are amplified even more, but also there's more opportunity around if we are able to look at it. And I think just this attitude of being very grateful for the times that we're in, it's like the doorway to seeing more opportunity and good things in the world. So yeah, I'd say those three.
Awesome. So existing, your family, and the times we're in.
Yeah,
right
basically.
Now. Yeah. Great things. So if we go back now into, let's say, when you were a bit younger, maybe much younger, a child, did you have a superhero in your life that or someone from the Marvel comics, or someone that you could relate to more than others that you liked, or?
Yes. Well, I'd have to say I have one from real life and another one from fiction, probably. And the one from real life, I really liked Michael Jordan growing up. I was like 10 years or so when he was already. And I think the first book I ever read was actually a short autobiography by him. And I think when you admire excellence, and you could say he was almost fictional as well. So you have that as a role model very early on. It definitely can't help but influence you in a positive way. I remember also my mother bought me from very early on an Albert Einstein poster that I had in my room since I was a little kid, and I didn't know better who he was or whatnot. But I have to bet that just having watching his face for almost all of my childhood must have set up even an unconscious influence in terms of, I don't know, genius, doing good things, being a leader. Who knows? Yeah. But in terms of the more fictional superheroes, I'd say I really like Spider-Man, actually.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We're really like again.
Yeah. Even though, of course, if you think about it, he took something that should have done bad things to him, and it was traumatic, like a radioactive spider biting on you, probably, infecting you. But that made him a much better person. And also he didn't have that much powers other than jumping from buildings. So he was like very human-like, but at the same time he stood for great things and being, of course, a superhero. So he was very human, but at the same time he was a superhero at the same time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's a little bit crazy what you're saying. And guys, just to give you a notion of what I mean with synchronizing ourselves. So Michael Jordan was definitely one of my heroes and my idols. I can go on for hours just talking about Michael Jordan and what he has been doing on the basketball court and off, because he became quite successful even afterwards. Spider-Man was my idol. I never saw that. As a hero, in the comic worlds. And when I was a child, I had a poster with Einstein in my room, with the formula, for EMC and stuff like that.
MC squared, yeah.
Yeah, square. You know, so that's quite crazy. You know, so we are synchronized again. You know,
Interesting.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, so let's get into, you know, I mean, what are you doing right now? You know, people obviously know from reading that you're a doctor and you've been doing a lot of things in that field. How did you get into that current field, and where are you now as we speak? Where are you now? So how did you start, and how did you get where you are right now?
Absolutely, good question. So, well, I was just regularly, you know, an MD, trained regular allopathic medicine, or they call it Western medicine. Really passionate about that because I've always been a people person, so to speak, and I've also loved science, as you might guess from, you know, liking Einstein and all that. So I figured that I like people and I like science, so let's just be a doctor, and that's great. Now I found out especially as I was finishing my training, that I wasn't that fulfilled in the sense that, you know, regular medicine wasn't helping much patients in terms of actually helping with most of the, especially modern diseases. The statistics are that diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure are rising, the rates of those diseases. And while medications do great things for just stabilizing those conditions, they didn't do much in terms of actually helping patients be cured or reversed from that. So as I started doing my research, it's a long story, but to make it a little shorter, I had a left knee injury myself, and I started doing research in terms of anti-inflammatory diets. So it took me a while, but then I found out a lot of actual other, not alternative doctors, but regular doctors, so to speak, that already had done research in terms of how to not only preventing, but reversing many of these chronic ailments like high blood pressure, diabetes, even cancer. So as I started delving deeper into that, I'm starting to make the changes myself. I feel so much better myself, and I saw many of my family members that used to take 5, 6 medications while being taken care of by top cardiologists or other specialists. I guess they didn't know any better, right? I'm not any fault with them. But after they made these changes, I saw that they started completely getting off medications and being healthy. And even some patients that started following along my advice. So, well, whenever you like something, you want to do more of it. Right? So I started doing research, and I found this clinic here in California that actually treated this, this type of medicine in terms of optimizing nutrition and preventing and reversing these diseases, and did this full time. So sure enough, I just came here to learn more about their protocols, and I found myself lucky that a space was available in terms of having another physician on board. And I've been here for the past eight months or so, and it's been a blast. And I'm looking forward to get the word out and helping people be their best selves. Even people that are not sick as I am, thankfully, can get so much more better in terms of energy and sleep and many other aspects of their lives. The skin, everything improves. Even athletes like Kyrie Irving are embracing this nutritional protocols and getting so much better. So I'm very excited for that stage in my life, not only for myself, but for what's doing for the rest of people around. So.
That's great. So, I mean, but maybe not a lot of people know that I unfortunately lost my mother in 2013. A lot of malpractice, and one of the things that I'm really passionate about, and you are already doing that in much bigger scale, Antonio, is the nutrition part, together with the mental part. So, what would you say to people that say that nutrition is not as important when it comes to preventing and especially recovering after an operation or in the hospitals? I know in Sweden the food that is served in the hospital is horrible, and I've had this discussion with specialist doctors here, and they say it's not that important. What would you say to those people saying that nutrition is not important when it comes to treatment and recovery and so on, with your knowledge?
Okay, yeah, great question. Well, first of all, I mean, I'm a very empathetic person, so I know that people just don't know better, or they just know what they've been taught. So I don't fault many of the people that don't know better about this, and that there's such a noisy environment out there that you don't know what to do or what to eat or what to follow, right? But evidence is overwhelming. How nutrition can, as I said before, not only prevent but reverse many of the chronic illnesses. If you think about it, I think pretty much everybody will agree that if you put something intravenously, whichever substance it is, it's going to affect your health in terms of probably helping it or not, helping with inflammation or causing more inflammation. So if you think about it, you eat 3 times a day, and that gets absorbed and goes directly into your bloodstream. So no question that food we know for a fact from science that your diet can be either acidic or alkaline forming, for example, as a more basic example that most folks can relate and be in agreement with. But also, yes, I mean, what to say? So many studies at this point that have already shown in the top medical centers here, even in the United States, like Cleveland Clinic, like Mayo Clinic, Harvard, that have shown not only prevention but reversal of high blood pressure, more completely speaking, diabetes, arthritis, many autoimmune conditions, many cancer conditions like lymphoma are completely prevented and sometimes even reversed. We have case studies of reversals of those. And at the same time, before we move on to the next question, of course, everybody's different. I mean, I don't want to make the people get false hopes from this. And I say this because some people, by the time that they want to make a change, some of them the case might be so advanced that it's a little harder. So everybody reacts different. Like, you're all different. But on the other hand, the effects are very dramatic for the majority of people, and if anything, we all get an improvement after making the nutritional protocol or the nutritional change.
So would you say we are experiencing, from what you're seeing, and I mean, I know the doctors that you are, in touch with and developing with and stuff, would you say that there is a shift in societies when it comes to nutrition and actually bringing in the mental part more, or is it just focused on different centers, specific areas where that is happening? If you know what I mean. I'm talking about the hospitals, the whole structure and the whole mindset when it comes to that. Is there a shift or not?
Yes, no question. There is a shift going on, especially with social media and all these channels that are giving more awareness, because when people really want something that works, and when something works, the word start getting out. It used to be that these things, came only from quote unquote alternative medicine, so to speak. But for example, last year, the president of the American College of Cardiology, it's very on board with these types of protocols. It's just because it's solid evidence-based medicine. One of his quotes, even, he said there are 2 types of cardiologists: the ones that are on board with plant-based medicine, and the ones that have not read the evidence. Meaning that if you really read the evidence, you're on board with this. It's overwhelming, the evidence about how these nutritional protocols and plant-based nutrition helps patients, number one. But then number 2, if you haven't read the evidence, chances are that you won't be doing it. So you just have to go to the sources and get the knowledge. And once you get the knowledge, it's just so common sense to actually do it.
That's interesting. I mean, that is quite a strong statement, and I like it, of course. And what I find interesting, I was listening to a podcast just the other day with Sam Harris. I really recommend that. It touches on a variety of topics, of course, and it's called Waking Up. And one of the informations coming from that podcast is that humans do not act even if they have the information. So they did a lot of studies with patients, I think was in the States, where they actually told the patients that there are certain hospitals they could get this information, where if they had heart surgery, the rate was actually higher on some hospitals to survive. So the first question was, would you like to get this information? And the number of patients that actually didn't want to know that was so much higher. And so that was the first one. And then, the patients that actually said, yeah, I would like to know where to go. They said, hey, it costs $50. And they were not ready to pay. It was just 8% that actually did something with the information and took action. So the discussion was that even though we know and we can get the information right now, we're still not going to act on the information, even when your life is in danger, or you could actually up the percentage of a successful operation or procedure and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting point that you make there, and that's something that I watch every day, or that I see every day with my patients. You sometimes know what you need to know, but sometimes you just don't act. The mind plays tricks on you, as we all know. The mind just wants to keep you where you are, even though and that's why people stay in relationships, for example, that even abusive relationships, because change is painful, change is hard, and sometimes just taking that first step is the biggest problem with many people. But and that's why I love learning so much, because it gets to a point where you know so much and you learn so much that you just can't help but change. And so you're changing just by doing more action, and that action is just first get the knowledge, and the more knowledge you get, you can't help but then you start making small changes, and then you get the results.
Awesome. So we need, a faster and a bigger shift, and I'm really, really happy that you're, obviously one of the doctors that are leading this together with your colleagues. All right, next question. We hear a lot about success today. Everybody's, wants to get successful and get rich fast, and and what I said before is that a lot of people are working hard, some, and chasing this success, but not a lot of people have made time for themselves to define what is success for me, because it's very individual. What I find successful, maybe you won't. So I'm curious, how do you define success for yourself? What is success for you?
Yeah, I think that's one of the most fundamental questions for anybody listening and anybody in life to ask themselves frequently, I think, especially nowadays, because while social media is great and it connects us, and in the internet and all that, we also get such a filtered version of people's life, and it can get very noisy and even frustrating for most of us. So we've seen people that supposedly have it all, but at the same time, very depressive, or are having artists committing suicide and the like. So, so my definition of success will be just that you're in the process of getting somewhere. If you think about it, if you're in a rush, for example, to getting to the train station or to the airplane because you have a trip upcoming, that's all that's in your mind, and your mind is engaged, and you're doing whatever you want to do in terms of getting there. So in life, if you have a set point that tells you where to go, I think you are successful, because everything in your life will be defined by you getting the resources, the information, the people for you to get to where you want to go. And that's true. It doesn't matter what stage you are in life or how much you have or not. You can be just out of a job, or but if you have a plan, you have direction, and you'll get resources. So what else do you need in life? And then once you get most of what you can ask in life for, it's all about probably giving it back in terms of helping other people achieve also the success that you've had. Because also it comes to a point where you might have enough abundance that the important is to get the next goal. And I think, frankly, at some point it needs to shift, if not from the beginning, right? That it's all about the rest of the people. It's not about you. So,
all right. So let's sum it up a little bit here. So you're talking about having having something to strive for, that is a part of how you define success. And when you have something to strive for, then, if you have a plan too, obviously you'll get the resources and people, and it's the process that is a part of your definition of success. And by doing that time and time again, it's giving back. That's also part of the success, not just keeping it, but give it back. So
absolutely. Yeah, it's exactly. And especially if it's from the beginning, even better. Like you're trying to advance yourself, but others along the way, along the path. Just having a clear goal and directing yourself towards that, and that includes others along the way. You're successful already by definition, I think. It's not about the goal, it's about the process, I think.
Yeah. Because the goal, there's always a new goal, right? I mean, once you get there, it's like, what's happening? Yeah.
Exactly.
What's next? All right. So what do you spend a big chunk of your income on?
Really learning. Anything and resources, books, programs. I frankly think that's I don't. Of course, I try to be sometimes conservative in terms of how I spend my budget, right? But I'd say certainly. Oh, and also food. But that's you asked for one. Great. It's your fuel. If you have a car that costs you a lot, which is your body, you give it the best fuel. It doesn't matter how much it costs. So food is one thing, but then the other is education. Well, it goes along the lines because it's your brain. You got to feed it good information. We are in an ever constant, ever changing environment. It's so challenging, especially nowadays. So the better you are informed, the better. So not only books, but audiobooks nowadays, podcasts, and because also it's not only about the money, but also the time. It's a great investment in terms of value in your life. So I think it's a no-brainer to being invested in terms of learning resources. So definitely that's the one thing I'd say.
Yeah, we can see that behind you. You have a couple of books there, So if we take those books, I cannot really see what they are, but which one would you recommend to other people watching, and why, from the books that you have behind you?
Okay, let me see real quick. I'd say, this one. This one is a really good one. Eat to Live.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think frankly this is one of the best nutrition books that I've ever read. I mean, not nutrition, but medicine in regards of what I do, plant-based nutrition. Okay. It's all about a fact that I think pretty much 100% of people should be or are in agreement that the highest nutritional density of food is, the better it is for you. And for your body. So that's the main premise of the book, and it goes further to explain how that affects inflammation and the rest of it. So that's one.
Could you put it up again? I want to take a picture with my phone. Thanks. We can spread it. All right. What about podcasts? I mean, we had a conversation before, and we are seeing that there is a shift from actually, reading. Then we went to video content. Now people don't even have the patience to look at videos. And all the experts are saying, hey, sound, it's what you should be focusing on. And podcast obviously is one way to listen to good stuff. So what are your 3 favorite podcasts that you would recommend for people watching?
Good question. I'd say the Rick Roll podcast. It goes along the lines of the what I do on a daily basis, and he interviews many of the experts in the field that I'm interested in, which is plant-based nutrition regarding medicine, and also he's an athlete. He's a triathlete, top triathlete. So a lot of athletes there that he interviews. Number 2, I'd say. The Rick Roll, I'm forgetting nowadays. I'm listening to so many. Okay, the Akimbo podcast. This is the new podcast by Seth Godin.
Okay.
That's a real good one. And lastly, I'd say the Tim Ferriss podcast. I think it's really good also because he interviews people from all sorts of different. I like to learn from many different types of experts, so to speak, and he interviews a great variety as well of experts in different fields and their best techniques and their best advice. So I think it's very interesting that teaches about overall aspects of life.
The Tim Ferriss show?
Yeah.
That one. All right. So maybe we can, after the interview, also post it in the comment field.
Yes.
The book and the podcast. So, all right, let's move on. If you think back on, obviously where you are right now, which person has had the biggest influence on you? From all the people that you met, could be family, could be a stranger, could be friends. So I know there's more people influencing together, but if you could just give us one person that has had a big influence on you, a positive influence, of course.
Well, I'd say my parents, but probably even more my father, because being a kid, you always look up to your father. He was, and he is still a great business person, and he's all about serving, being a great person, a great guy, and the values that he taught me about surrounding myself with good people, having education as an important value in life. He's well humored, always laughing and making people laugh. And
that's great. What's his name?
Nicolas Soler.
Nicolas. Okay.
Yeah. So my mother, of course, as well. But in terms of career. But I think they both, because you're also the people that are closest to you influence you the most, both in the positive and the negative way. What I mean is that you learn both from the good things that they do and their mistakes as well, because nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect.
Of course.
So I think that, but also number two, I'm big on, some people say, well, I have this one mentor that I learned from and all that, but I see that I have, I think, a lot of mentors when I've read books, like we were talking before, Darren Hardy and many of these, Seth Godin. So I try to learn, maybe stay with a mentor for a couple of months, read all of their books, and then learn from them. And that way I've learned to admire many other characters like Dr. Michael Greger, like Dr. Joe Furman, whom I mentioned already. There are many around as well. So I think it's a very important thing to keep in mind, to keep yourself looking forward to learning excellence from people who are already excellent. Because again, connecting this back to the definition of success, it's all about where you're going. And you might as well be looking forward to people that are already where you want to go. So we should always be having like even Tim Ferriss wrote his book, like a tribe of mentors.
Yes.
Like even better, because then everybody usually specializes in one thing or one or two things. So why not as well have a lot of mentors that are able to teach you about family, about your profession, about health, about exercise, etc.
That's great advice. And it's so much easier today, to just listen to a podcast, like you say, and immerse in a new field and get the information. So the whole thing of, one guy or a woman, mentoring yourself in a dark, mysterious room, you can get mentored by anyone just by getting access to their best tools, right? And material out there to start with.
Yeah, absolutely. Before you had to wait if the person will ever publish a book or be interviewed in what magazine. You'd have to figure out and go to But nowadays, it's one search, one click away of you having 10 interviews of that person and going deeper into how they achieve or how they what they are. Yeah,
for sure. So, all right, let's sum it up. Last question. If you had the opportunity to leave one message, could be on a giant billboard, could be, in a different way, but so the whole world could see, that this is the message that Antonio Soler left when he passed on, and that would live on, even after you're gone, what would that message be in one phrase?
Okay, I'd say search for spirituality. What I mean by that, I said spirituality, not religion, and I said search for spirituality because it's always a process. Again, it's a search, and I think again, it's just a reality that we live in a very noisy world, and I think the values of the value of reading all these books and all these processes like meditation gives you such a peace of mind that you just can't help but be a better human being, both for yourself, for your family, and the people that surround you. And I think we live in important times, and we really need to be more spiritual, I think, overall. Just be a good person, have good values, and it's not difficult to let those values slip away if you're not very proactive in looking them. Like, for example, if you're not proactively looking for health, exercise, it's very easy to slip away and then start to become obese and lose your health. So same thing, if you don't tend to spirituality and your values, you might have the best upbringing, the best parents, you might be honest, but if you're not searching for your true values and your spirituality, it can slip away, and one small lie, one white lie leads to another, and next thing you're almost stealing or talking behind people's back, and etc. Yeah. So it's just a warning there that we're all vulnerable for, and I think nowadays, more than ever, it's a more pressing necessity that people search for their own version of spirituality, because I'm not for as much for religion at all as I am for spirituality, frankly, because that just gives us a peace of mind and lets us sleep better, be even happier human beings, and that has been proven by medical research as well.
Awesome way to put it. So search for your spirituality. That's the message. Thank you so much, Antonio, my accountability partner from somewhere sunnier than what's happening in Sweden over here. We're actually almost dying of cold for the past days. If people want to get in touch with you, connect and find out more about you, which is the easiest way to do that, Antonio, before we part off?
Okay, so I'm in the process of building platforms, right? So, but for now, my Instagram account, which is my just first and last name, Antonio Soler, and in my Instagram account, I think is the best way. And I also have my Facebook fan page, Dr. Antonio Soler. So I guess for now, those two places. I have a website upcoming, so I guess we'll update your audience on that when that's available. And I guess
yes. All right. Thank you so much for connecting, and I wish you a great weekend. And we will be talking soon because we go on with the accountability partnerships. And for everyone that's been watching, have a great weekend and rewatch, obviously the interview. Find the parts where that you like the most and extract maybe to one podcast or book, advice about alkalizing your body, spirituality, whatever, but go back time and time again, rinse and repeat, and you will find the golden nuggets. So thank you so much, Antonio, and we'll reconnect very, very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks to you for the opportunity, and hope that somebody learned at least one thing here. Very appreciative of not only your friendship, but the opportunity here. So if I'm able to be of any help, I think I've been more than successful. So very grateful, and thanks for everybody watching.
Thanks.
Thank you.